Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott. Today's activation is the 10x Wealth Activation. By listening to this activation, you're going to 10x your life. What I mean is you'll receive 10 times more income, experience 10 times more happiness, have 10 times the energy just by listening to this activation. Every word is precisely tuned to a very specific frequency. I am creating a change in your consciousness, shifting you into a timeline in which everything you receive is maximized and expanded exponentially. There's a multiplication frequency that only 3% of humanity has ever accessed. It exists above normal consciousness, a band of reality where everything doesn't just add, it multiplies. The ancient Egyptians knew about it. They built the pyramids using multiplication mathematics that we're only now beginning to understand. Tesla discovered it in his laboratory at 3 a.m. during his experiments with resonance. He called it the amplification zone, a state of consciousness where 1 unit of energy creates 10 units of result. You're about to access that zone. See, most people live in addition reality. They work 1 more hour to earn 1 more hour's pay. They make $20,000, then they want to make $21,000 or $25,000. They make 1 more friend at a time. They take 1 more trip a year if they're lucky. They increase their happiness by tiny increments, fighting for every percentage point of improvement. Addition reality is exhausting because it's linear, it's predictable, it's the slow lane of manifestation where you trade time for money, effort for results, sacrifice for success. But multiplication reality operates on completely different physics. In multiplication reality, every input amplifies, every thought compounds, every action creates exponential returns. The timeline doesn't move forward in a straight line, it curves upward in a geometric progression that makes traditional success strategies obsolete. Your brain already knows how to multiply. You start as a single cell that multiplied into 37 trillion cells. That's the kind of expansion we're talking about. Not theoretically, functionally. Your consciousness has the same multiplication capability as your cells. It just needs activation. The activation you're about to experience doesn't require you to work harder. It doesn't ask you to sacrifice more. It doesn't demand that you push through resistance. Instead, it's going to flip a switch in your consciousness that changes you from an addition being to a multiplication being. From someone who earns to someone who attracts. From someone who chases to someone who magnetizes. From someone who increases to someone who multiplies. Everything you want already exists in a timeline where you have 10 times more of it. 10 times the adventures and travels. 10 times the deep, meaningful friendships. 10 times the laughter, the joy, the pure sense of being alive. That timeline is not far away. It's not years in the future. It's 1 frequency shift from where you are right now. The 10x version of your life requires less effort than what you're doing now, because multiplication doesn't come from force. It comes from alignment with the frequency. Once you lock into that frequency, once your consciousness starts vibrating at the frequency of multiplication, everything shifts. Money finds you instead of you finding money. Opportunities chase you instead of you chasing opportunities. Joy becomes your default state instead of something you have to manufacture. This activation is going to do 3 things. First, it's going to clear addition programming. It's been running your life since childhood. Second, it's going to install the multiplication frequency directly into your neural pathways. Third, it's going to trigger an immediate shift that you'll feel in your body, see in your reality, and know in your bones as real. The person who started listening to this activation and the person who finishes it will be operating in different realities. One trapped in addition, one freed into multiplication. The shift is permanent, immediate, and has already begun. There's a story in 2 Kings in the Bible that holds the secret code to 10x multiplication. A widow came to the prophet Elisha, desperate. Creditors were coming to take her 2 sons as slaves. All she had in her house was a single jar of oil. 1 jar, that's it. Total poverty except for this 1 small vessel of oil. But watch what happens next. This is the 10x activation hidden in plain sight for thousands of years. Elisha didn't tell her to ration the oil. He didn't tell her to sell it carefully. He told her to do something that seemed insane. Go and borrow empty vessels from all your neighbors. Borrow as many as you can. Don't get just a few, get many. So she's broke, about to lose her children, and the prophet tells her to go collect empty containers, not full ones. Empty ones, because multiplication requires space to receive. The 10x life doesn't fill what you have, it requires you to create capacity for what's coming. And then it starts to get supernatural. She starts pouring from her single jar of oil. She fills 1 borrowed vessel. The oil keeps flowing. She fills another. The oil keeps flowing. Another. The oil multiplied based on her capacity to receive it. It only stopped when she ran out of empty vessels. The oil didn't stop because the source was exhausted. It stopped because she stopped creating space for multiplication. This is the 10x principle encoded in ancient wisdom. Your abundance multiplies to fill the exact size of your container. If she had just borrowed 1 vessel, she would have filled 1 vessel. If she had borrowed 100, she would have filled 100. If she had borrowed 1,000, the oil would have kept flowing. The universe was ready to 10x, 100x, 1000x her reality. The only limitation was how many empty vessels she was willing to gather. Elisha was teaching her 10x consciousness. And there are numerous examples in the Bible of this as well. Your oil is ready to multiply. It might be your knowledge, your creativity, your energy, your connections. Whatever you have, no matter how small it seems, carries within it the seed of infinite multiplication. But it only multiplies when you pour it out. And it only multiplies to fill the containers that you have prepared. The creditors at her door represent whatever is pressing against you right now: bills, deadlines, limitations. But between pressure and provision stands multiplication, and multiplication doesn't care about your current balance. It only cares about your capacity to receive. There's something fascinating about consciousness in mathematics. When you aim for 10% improvement, you stay in the same reality with slight modifications. When you aim for 50% better, you stretch, but remain in familiar territory. Even doubling your life 2 times keeps you playing the same game with better cards, but 10 times breaks the game entirely. 10 times anything requires a complete transformation of identity. When somebody asks me, what goal should I set? My first thought is, can we 10x this? You cannot be the same person with 10 times the wealth. You cannot think the same thoughts with 10 times the joy. You cannot operate from the same frequency with 10 times the opportunities. 10 times demands metamorphosis. If you want to increase your income by 20%, you might work a few extra hours, get a small raise, take on another project. Your current self can handle that, but to 10 times your income, you have to become someone who operates in a completely different financial reality. Someone who thinks in millions instead of thousands. Someone who creates value at scale instead of trading time for money. Someone who has fundamentally transformed their relationship with abundance. This is why 10x is the sweet spot of transformation. It's large enough to require a complete identity shift, but specific enough to feel tangible. It's not a million X where your mind can't even comprehend it. It's not 3 times where you might accidentally slip back into your old patterns. 10 times is the minimum effective dose for permanent transformation. When NASA wanted to go to the moon, they didn't aim for 10% better rockets. They aimed for 10 times improvement in every system. That's when breakthrough happens. That's when impossible becomes inevitable. Because 10 times thinking forces you to abandon everything that is not working and discover entirely new ways of being. The person earning $50,000 who wants to earn $60,000 tinkers with their existing life. The person earning $50,000 who wants to earn $500,000 has to revolutionize everything, their daily habits, their social circle, their belief systems, their entire approach to value creation. One is an improvement, yes. The other is evolution. And here's the secret. To 10x is actually easier than 2x. When you aim for twice as good, you compete with everyone else who's trying to incrementally improve. And yes, there's some Asian traditions that say incremental improvement works. But when you aim for 10 times better, in the long term, you're in a different category entirely. It is okay to set incremental goals, but your long-term goal has to be 10x or more. There's less competition at 10 times because most people don't believe it's possible. They're fighting for scraps of improvement while you're playing an entirely different game. Your subconscious understands 10x perfectly. It's the natural multiplication factor in nature. Our cells divide and multiply in factors of 10. The universe expands in powers of 10. From the quantum level to the cosmic level, 10 is the number of dimensional shift. It's why we have 10 fingers, why our number system is based in 10, why decades mark major life transitions. When you commit to 10x, you stop negotiating with mediocrity. You stop having conversations about whether something is realistic. You stop asking how and start embodying the frequency of someone for whom 10x has already happened. Because here's what most people never realize. The how only reveals itself after you commit to the seemingly impossible. The 10x life isn't just more of what you have now. It's a completely different existence. Someone with 10 times the wealth doesn't have a bigger bank account. They have different problems, different opportunities, different conversations, different possibilities. Someone with 10 times the joy doesn't just smile more. They vibrate at a frequency that transforms every room they enter. This is why you're not activating 5x or 7x or even 9x. You're activating 10x because that's the multiplication factor that ensures you can never go back to who you were before. It's the point of no return in consciousness expansion. It's the event horizon of personal transformation where the gravitational pull of your new reality becomes stronger than the pull of your past. Every billionaire understands 10x thinking. Every world changer operates from 10x consciousness. Every breakthrough in human history came from someone who refused to accept incremental improvement and demanded exponential transformation instead. Today you join their ranks, not gradually, not eventually, today. The gap between where you are and 10x is not time, it's permission. Permission to think bigger, grander than your environment allows. Permission to want more than seems reasonable. Permission to expand beyond what your family achieved. Permission to multiply beyond what your current circle believes is possible. That permission is what we're activating right now. The moment you truly embrace 10x as your new minimum standard, not your maximum dream, everything shifts. The universe responds differently to someone committed to 10x. Reality bends differently around 10 times consciousness. Opportunities appear that were invisible to the person seeking marginal improvement. You weren't born for 10% better. You weren't designed for slight improvements. You came here for exponential expansion, quantum leaps for the kind of growth that inspires others to believe in their own impossible dreams. 10x isn't just your goal, it's your birthright waiting to be claimed. Let me paint you a picture of what happens when everything multiplies by 10 in your life. You wake up tomorrow morning, but the feeling is completely different. There's no alarm because you don't need one. Your body naturally wakes at the perfect time because you have multiplied your alignment with your natural rhythms. The first thought that enters your mind isn't about what you have to do, but what you get to create. Your calendar shows 10 times fewer obligations, but each one is 10 times more meaningful, more profitable, more aligned with your purpose. You check your phone and see notifications of money that arrived while you slept, not small amounts, significant deposits from sources you set in motion that now run themselves. Your investments multiplied overnight by 10 times. Your business systems generated revenue automatically by 10 times. Your creative work sold in multiple countries by 10 times. Money flows to you from so many streams that checking your accounts becomes a celebration rather than a calculation. Your body feels different. 10 times the energy means you bounce out of bed like you're 20 years younger. Your joints move without stiffness. Your mind is crystal clear without coffee. You look in the mirror and see someone glowing, your skin clear, your eyes brighter, your entire presence radiating a vitality that makes people ask what you're doing differently. The messages on your phone are from friends, but not the energy vampires you used to tolerate. Your life naturally filtered out draining relationships and magnetized soul-level connections. These friends text about private jets they're chartering for next week's adventure, asking if you want to join. They share investment opportunities that would have seemed impossible before. They celebrate your wins without jealousy because they're winning too. Your morning routine isn't rushed. With 10 times more time, you luxuriate in practices that feed your soul. Maybe it's an hour of meditation in your garden. Maybe it's painting in your studio. Maybe it's a beach walk with your dog. You have all the time in the world, where it becomes your days expanded to everything you love. Work doesn't feel like work anymore. Your 10x income comes from doing what lights you up so completely that you do it for free, except the universe insists on paying you magnificently for it. You spend 2 hours on a project that excites you, and those 2 hours generate more income than you used to make in a month. Your expertise is valued at 10x rates because you're delivering 100x value. Lunch might be in Paris or Tokyo, or your favorite local spot that you now own a piece of because why not? Travel isn't planned months in advance, it's spontaneous. Want to see the Northern Lights tonight? Becomes a real question. Your afternoon might involve mentoring someone, changing their life with a single conversation, because your 10x wisdom means you see solutions where others see problems. Or you're closing a deal. Would have taken you 6 months to negotiate, but your 10x confidence makes it happen in a single meeting. Your home is your sanctuary, 10 times bigger, designed exactly for your frequency. Every room supports a different aspect of your 10x life. The office where $1 million ideas are born, the studio where you create, the spa bathroom where you rejuvenate, the kitchen where you prepare meals that multiply your health, the entertaining spaces where you host gatherings that become legendary. Evenings are for connection, deep conversations with your partner who's living their 10x life. Playing with your kids who see unlimited possibility as normal because the world you created for them. Before bed, you review the day and realize you accomplished more by noon than you used to in a week. But it didn't feel like effort, it felt like play. Everything in your 10x life has this quality: significant impact with insignificant effort, maximum result with minimum resistance. You sleep deeply and peacefully, knowing tomorrow will be even better, not hoping, knowing. It's not just the money, though you have plenty. It's not the freedom, though you're completely free. It's not even the joy, though you're happier than you imagined possible. It's the knowing, the absolute knowing that you're finally living as the person you always were inside, the expanded version, the 10x version of you, the multiplied version, the version that's waiting all along for you to give it permission to exist. Your 10x life doesn't feel like you've added things to your old life. It feels like you've finally come home to your real life. That's the 10x life, a reality that's one activation away from becoming your permanent state, a reality that's actually easier to maintain than the restricted life you're leaving behind. There are infinite examples of someone taking on the 10x mindset, and it completely transforms their life, their family's life, and generations after that. Brian Chesky was renting an apartment in San Francisco, couldn't afford the $1,150 in rent, put 3 air mattresses on the floor, charged $80 each for a night. That's $240. But here's where the 10x happened. Within 4 years, Airbnb was booking 10 times more room nights than Hilton Hotel's entire 93-year history. Chesky went from unable to pay $11.50 rent to a net worth of $11.5 billion. That's exactly 10 million times his monthly rent problem. He didn't create a better hotel. He multiplied every spare room on earth into potential income, thinking exponentially. Patrick Collison was making $50,000 a year as a programmer. Started Stripe with his brother. But here's the mathematical beauty. They didn't just improve payment processing by 10%. They made it 10 times easier. What used to take 2 weeks and thousands of lines of code now took 7 lines of code and 10 minutes. Revenue went from 0 to 100 million in exactly 10x jumps. 1 million to 10 million to 100 million. Today, Stripe processes $640 billion annually. Collison's net worth $11.4 billion. That's 228,000 times his starting salary. And then there's Whitney Wolfe Herd, was making $50,000 at Tinder. Left after a lawsuit, devastated, publicly humiliated. Instead of finding another job, she created Bumble. But here's the 10x moment. In just 7 years, Bumble reached $14 billion in valuation. She went from $50,000 salary to $1.5 billion net worth. That's exactly 30,000x. But it happened through 3 distinct 10x multiplication: users, revenue, then valuation. At age 31, she became the youngest female CEO to take a company public. Then there's Austin Russell, who dropped out of Stanford, received a $100,000 Thiel Fellowship, built Luminar, making LiDAR sensors for driving cars. But here's the precise 10x progression. His company went from $100,000 in funding to $1 million to $10 million to $100 million to $3.4 billion valuation in exactly 5 years. Russell became the world's youngest self-made billionaire at 25. His sensors were 10 times more powerful and 10 times cheaper than competitors. Not approximately, but exactly 10 times. Kevin Systrom was making $70,000 at Google, created Instagram in 8 weeks. Here's the precise 10x growth. On day 1, had 10,000 users. In the first month, 100,000 users. In month 3, 1 million users. Sold to Facebook for $1 billion just 2 years later. But here's the mathematical proof of 10x. Instagram had exactly 13 employees and sold for $1 billion. That's $77 million per employee. The previous record was $10 million per employee, almost exactly 10x. Systrom's personal take was $400 million. That's 5,714 times his Google salary. This is an activation to awaken the multiplication aspect within you, to take you away from thinking about addition and moving into true expansion. Another example is Ryan Cohen, who built Chewy from his parents' house, starting with $15,000. But watch the 10x progression. In year 1, he had $2 million in revenue. In year 2, $26 million. In year 3, $205 million. By year 4, he had $900 million. Year 5, $2 billion. Year 6, sold for $3.35 billion. Cohen was 33 years old. That's 223,000 times his initial investment. But it happened through consistent 10x multiplications, not random growth. These aren't just success stories. These are mathematical proofs of the 10x principle. This is how people expand. They expand in 10-fold increases, not 8x or 12x. It seems to be this specific number. It's why you should be trying to manifest it. Right now, there's a part of your mind that's been protecting you from disappointment. It's the voice that says, be realistic. Don't get your hopes up. That's for other people, not you. This voice thinks it's keeping you safe, but safety and 10x cannot coexist in the same consciousness. The resistance to 10x is not actually about the money or the success. It's about who you have to become to receive it. Your current identity has invested years, maybe decades, in being exactly who you are right now. It's comfortable with your current income because it knows how to be the person who earns that amount. You have a temperature level set. But 10 times, that requires becoming someone your current identity doesn't recognize. The truth that changes everything is the resistance you feel is not a wall, it's a membrane. And membranes are designed to be permeable. They're meant to let things through. Your resistance to 10x wealth is just a temporary boundary that's already beginning to dissolve as you hear these words. Every billionaire on earth was once someone who had never made $1 million. Every millionaire was once someone who couldn't imagine having 100,000. They didn't slowly erode their resistance over years. They had a moment, single moment like you are having right now, where they decided resistance was more exhausting than expansion. The fear of 10x isn't really fear of success, it's fear of ease. You've been programmed to believe that struggle equals worthiness, that suffering equals earning, that hardship equals value. So when 10x promises to be easier than 2x, something inside you rejects it, not because it's impossible, but because it's too easy to be true. But here's what resistance doesn't want you to know. Maintaining your current limited reality takes more energy than expanding into 10x. Think about how much effort you put into staying small, the energy it takes to suppress your dreams, the force required to hold back your natural expansion. And it's natural. Your resistance to wealth is inherited. It's not even yours. It belongs to your great-grandparents who lived through the Depression, your grandparents who believed in scarcity, your parents who taught you that money doesn't grow on trees. These aren't your beliefs. They're ancestral programs running on outdated software. And outdated software can be updated instantly. Right now, feel where the resistance lives in your body. Maybe you don't think it's possible. You don't think it's realistic. Maybe it's tightness in your chest when you think about having 10 times your income. Maybe it's a clenching in your stomach. Maybe it's a voice in your head saying, "Who do you think you are?" That sensation, that voice, those ideas, it's not a stop sign, it's a doorway. The resistance is actually pointing you toward exactly where you need to expand. You don't have to deserve 10x. Deserving is a concept created by those who believe in scarcity. The sun doesn't ask if flowers deserve its light. The rain doesn't evaluate worthiness before it falls. And abundance doesn't check your credentials before it flows. 10x isn't something you earn, it's something you allow. The resistance wants you to believe that 10x success will make you a different person, someone your family won't recognize, someone your friends will resent. But here is the revolution. 10x doesn't change who you are, it reveals who you've always been. The generous person you are becomes 10 times more generous. The creative person you are becomes 10 times more creative. The loving person you are becomes 10 times more loving. Your friends who would resent your 10 times success, they're not your friends. They're your comfort zone disguised as companionship. Your real friends, your soul family, they're praying for your 10 times expansion and breakthrough because they know your expansion gives them permission to expand. The resistance tells you that managing 10 times wealth would be stressful, complicated, overwhelming. But that's like saying having 10 times more blood in your body would be hard to manage. Your capacity expands with your reality. Here's the moment where everything shifts. The resistance is not protecting you from failure. It's protecting you from finding out how powerful you really are. It knows that once you taste this new reality, once you experience that level of expansion, you'll never go back to playing small. And that terrifies the part of you that's invested in limitation. But limitation was never your truth. It's just a temporary experience you agreed to have, and temporary experiences are meant to end. The path to 10x is clear. It's always been clear. The only thing standing between you and multiplication was the belief that something was standing between you and multiplication, and that belief just dissolved. You're free now. Free to multiply, free to expand, free to receive the 10x life that's been waiting for you to stop resisting and start allowing. This is the moment. The activation happens within you. Feel an electrical current entering the crown of your head. This is an installation. Your neural pathways are being rewritten with this expanded code. Every synapse that used to fire in patterns of limitation is now being overwritten with multiplication frequencies. The frequency of 10x vibrates just below the threshold of pure transformation. As this frequency floods your brain, your neurons are literally reorganizing the pathways that calculate in addition and are dissolving. New pathways that calculate in multiplication are forming. You can feel this happening. A tingling in your skull, a warmth spreading through your brain. Now it's moving down your spine. Each vertebra lights up. Your nervous system is being upgraded from a single-lane road to a 10-lane superhighway. Information, opportunities, wealth, they all flow 10 times faster through your upgraded system. Your heart is receiving the upgrade. Feel it beating differently, not faster, but more powerfully. Each beat pumps 10x frequency through your entire circulatory system. Your blood carrying multiplication codes to every cell, 100 trillion cells all receiving the same instruction. Multiply by 10. There's a shift happening in your solar plexus. Your power center, it's expanding, glowing brighter, generating 10 times more personal power than 60 seconds ago. This is your manifestation engine, and it just went from a 4-cylinder to a V12. You can feel the increased horsepower, the raw creative force now at your disposal. Your hands are tingling. These are your receiving instruments, and they're being recalibrated to handle this new 10x flow. The old you can only hold so much. The activated you can receive unlimited abundance without overflow. Feel your DNA itself transforming. A massive shift is happening in your reality field. The invisible bubble of energy that surrounds you is expanding from 3 feet to 30 feet in every direction. Your energetic presence is 10x'd. People will feel you before they see you. Opportunities will be pulled into your expanded field like a super magnet. Your third eye is operating wider, seeing probabilities and possibilities that were invisible moments ago. You're seeing the 10x timeline overlaying your current reality like augmented reality. You can see both where you are and where you're going simultaneously. Your inner dialogue has changed. The voice that used to speak in lack now speaks in multiplication. Instead of "I can't afford that," you hear "How many of those would I like?" Instead of "That's impossible," you hear "That's inevitable." The narrator of your life story just got replaced with the 10x version. Right now in this moment, can you feel it? The shift is physical. Your body is lighter yet more grounded. Your vision is clear, colors more vivid, sounds are crisper. This is what really looks like at the 10x frequency. Everything is more alive because you're more alive. Your bank account doesn't know it yet, but the signal has been sent. Your employer doesn't know it yet, but your value just 10x'd. Your clients don't know yet, but your prices just became a bargain even at 10x rates. The world doesn't know yet, but a 10x being just came online. You can't unfeel what you're feeling. You can't unknow what you know. You can't deactivate what's been activated. Stand up, walk differently, speak differently. You're not the same person who started this activation. You're the 10x version, fully installed, completed, operational, irreversibly activated. The shift is complete. Now let your consciousness drift forward into your 10x reality. See yourself living with 10 times the wealth, moving through your days with 10 times the energy, surrounded by 10 times the love. Feel what it's like when everything you touch multiplies, when abundance is your natural state, when all good things expand effortlessly. Let the vision unfold naturally. See your 10x home, your 10x health radiating from every cell, your 10x impact rippling into the world. Feel the freedom, the joy, the absolute knowing that this is who you've become. Float in this reality, breathe it in, let every cell of your body memorize this frequency. Let the vision expand and crystallize. Begin to imagine and see this vision come before you now. Tomorrow morning, you'll wake up and something will be different. The coffee will taste different. The mirror will reflect different. Your phone will ring different because you are different. You're not becoming 10x, you are 10x. It is done. Every cell in your body is now vibrating at the multiplication frequency. Every thought you think carries 10x power. Every word you speak creates 10x impact. Every action you take generates 10x results. The universe has already received your new signal. Right now, as you hear these words, reality is reorganizing itself around your frequency. Opportunities that didn't exist an hour ago are being created. Money that was flowing elsewhere is redirecting towards you. People who can help you multiply are feeling an urge to reach out. Can you feel it building? The wave of multiplication that's about to crash into your reality. It's gathering force, pulling resources from every corner of existence, building into a tsunami of abundance that will transform everything you touch. This is your moment of becoming. The old you dissolved, the limited you deleted, the small you defunct. What remains is pure multiplication consciousness wearing a human body. A 10x being in a world that rewards 10x thinking with 10x results. Your wealth is multiplying right now. Your health is multiplying right now. Your joy multiplying right now. Your impact multiplying right now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you're ready, but right now. This can't be undone. The frequency can't be lowered. The expansion cannot be reversed. Every billionaire remembers the moment they became inevitable. Every revolutionary remembers when they became unstoppable. Every transformer remembers when they became unlimited. This is your moment. Mark it. Remember it. You'll tell this story for decades. This frequency is now hardwired into your nervous system, encoded in your DNA, embedded in your consciousness. You don't have to maintain it. You don't have to remember it. You don't have to effort it. It's as automatic as your heartbeat, as natural as your breathing, as permanent as your fingerprint. Rise from this activation as the 10x version that you are. Walk as the 10x version, speak as the 10x version, decide as the 10x version. Everything is now multiplied for you. All good things are multiplied. All bad things are removed 10 times. The reality revolution isn't something you're joining, it's something you're leading. Every person you encounter will feel your frequency and start questioning their own limitations. Your expansion gives others permission to expand. This is bigger than money, bigger than success, bigger than personal transformation. You've just become a node in the multiplication network that's upgrading human consciousness now. You are no longer who you were when this started. You are now something unprecedented, something unlimited, something unstoppable. You are 10x. And the universe is about to prove it to you. The revolution has begun. Your revolution, the reality revolution. You can find all episodes of The Reality Revolution at therealityrevolution.com. And welcome to The Reality Revolution. Hello, it's Brian Scott. And I'm beyond excited to finally announce a live, in-person, 3-day event that I'm hosting in Los Angeles on November 21st through the 23rd. And when you walk away from this event, your life will be changed forever. Whatever it is that you're looking for right now, if you need to heal from something, to find the love of your life, to find wealth, to find your purpose, to ascend, to evolve, whatever that is, whatever your desire, this event is designed to bring that to you. There is a timeline available for you where you can live the very best life that you could ever imagine, where everything is always working out for you. And this event is designed to shift you into that reality and make it something tangible and real that you experience. I promise you that this will change your life.